Right, so welcome to this morning's talk about primary PSHCE. What I'd like you to do is it's going to be an interactive session. You're not just going to be sat listening to me for half an hour. I promise you it will be fun, but I promise you won't have to stand up and talk into the microphone. So just relax. Deep breaths all around. Okay, so turning to the person next to you, they're going to be your shoulder buddy, just like you would in the classroom. And your shoulder buddy is going to be someone that you talk to throughout the morning. So if you don't know them, say good morning and make a good acquaintance with them. If you're married to them, I'm sorry. Right, so what I'd like you to talk about with your shoulder buddy is, what does PSHCE stand for? Off you go. Okay, if you think you've got a couple, put your hands on your head. No, I'm joking. What we're going to do is we're going to look at what they stand for. So what does PSHCE stand for? If you said personal, give yourself a pat on the back. And it's all about the personal skills that your children will learn throughout the curriculum. These may include a range of things, but help support things like resilience, self-motivation, critical thinking, and flexibility. Social. Who said social? A couple of people said social. Well done. So social, the communication skills. We ask our students to be communicative, and social skills include the verbal and non-verbal skills that they may need to talk. We had a workshop recently with the educational psychologist, and she said the majority of the speaking that we do is non-verbal. So when we're listening to someone, we're not listening to them. We're looking at their facial expression. We're looking at their body. And it's important for children to realize that when their mother says, "It's time," she means it, as opposed to, "It's time to tidy your room." Then we look at health. So what aspects of health do the children look at? Well, emotional health, as well as their physical health. So looking at the two and the well-being of both. Now, recently, emotional well-being has been really important, and we know it's important, and it's a good thing for us to look at. How can we support children in their emotional resilience? And then citizenship education. Did anyone get citizenship? Some did. Well done, well done. And it's about learning about things like democracy, equality, justice, things that they hear about in the news, but making sure that they understand them in everyday living. So how does this tie into who we are as a school? What we have done is we have our new mission. So some of you will have seen the mission and the vision's everywhere now. And a lot of the things that we're asking the children to learn or to encompass are part of our vision. So they're our student learning outcomes. What we really need them to learn, they're the soft skills that prepare them for the future. Now, most of you know this, that AI is far smarter than us. So how do we as teachers prepare children for the future? With 65% of children going to be in jobs that haven't been created yet, what can we as a school do to support them? Well, it's by teaching them these skills, the skills of collaboration, resilience, critical thinking, flexibility. All of those skills support your child for the future. And that's what we want to encompass as a school. So PSHCE isn't just a standalone subject. It isn't just something that they have half an hour of every week and we leave it at that. And we talk about not bullying in this half an hour and that's it. It's something that we ask our children to do every day. It's showing that resilience in maths, finding something challenging and keep going at it. It's being caring on the playground. It's a new student, it's the start of the year, there's lots of new students from all over the world, and it's about finding someone who cares for somebody else. So it's encompassing these characteristics throughout the year, and that's what our PSHCE works in support with our school. So we're going to play a bit of a game. Most of you have a paper and a pen. It's quite a fun one. What you're going to do is you're going to move around the room, and you're going to find someone who has, and in the block you're going to write their name. So find someone who's lived in another country, can speak 3 languages, loves to eat pizza, has read a good book lately, has a pet, has an interesting hobby, is wearing something yellow. I hope there's someone wearing something yellow. Is left-handed and enjoys singing. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Off you go, please. Right, did you enjoy that activity? It was so bad, it was so fun. That's the feedback I'm hearing from the front row. Now, what skills did you use to complete that activity? Talk to your shoulder partner about the skills that you had to use to complete that activity. And can you jot some of the skills down on the back of your paper, please? Right, so on the back of your paper you may have written communication because you had to communicate. And you had to be quite brave because some of these people you've never seen before. So you had to show a certain amount of resilience to stand up and walk around and say, do you like pizza? Accusingly, and yes, the answer is. But we use the skills of communication. We use the skills of problem solving. I need this information. How do I go and get it? I have to walk around the room and engage. We also use the skills of listening. We had to listen to the person. And really, we used a lot of social skills because we interacted with the people around us. So in this instance, and this is what we would do with children, we wouldn't necessarily say today you're going to learn about communication. What we would do is we do an activity like this, and then they're getting the opportunity to practice all of these skills in a really fun way. And it's an engaging way, and it's fun with adults too. Right, so we're going to have a look at what happens in primary PSHCE. So we can really think of primary PSHCE lessons being taught in three ways. There's those lessons that explicitly teach about the issue, and they offer factual information. There's the lessons that teach children how to manage an issue. So there's lots of fun games that we can do, things like Conscience Alley, we can talk about feelings. And then there's the lessons that underpin the learning, so underpin topic-specific learning. Now, what we need to do as a class and as a teacher is create an environment where children feel safe to talk. Because it's not always easy saying that you don't really like going on the playground because you feel a bit nervous. Or it's not easy saying sometimes you find something more challenging than somebody else might. So it's really important that within the classroom that the children feel that it's a safe zone, that they can talk about their things. And actually, in all my time at the school, I've always loved PSHCE because the children are so kind and compassionate and understanding with each other. And oftentimes, they solve each other's issues. So someone might come in and say, oh, I really don't like it when my brother interrupts me when I'm talking to my mum. And a friend might say, well, have you spoken to your mum about that? And all of a sudden the light flickers on and the child has an awareness. Now, I could say that, but when it comes from their peers, it's really meaningful for them. So those are the three ways in which we teach PSHCE. Now, we also need to be aware that some things happen in the world around us and things that we need to react to, things that are Singapore-specific. If you think back to the kidnapping scare quite recently that we had to address as a school, and we spoke a lot about stranger danger. It wasn't kidnapping at all. It just happened to be three events that looked like that. But it was important that we as a school addressed it so that they knew that the message from home, the message from school was the same message that they were hearing. And that's what we need to do as a school and as a community, is work together. Now, these are the concepts that your children will learn in PSHCE. And I'll talk in a minute about how they learn it, but all of it is age appropriate. So they'll learn about identity. They'll learn about their personal qualities, attitude, skills, attributes, achievements, and what influence these. And then the understanding and maintaining of boundaries with regards to personal privacy, both in real life and online, which is a big worry for parents these days. They'll learn about relationships. Again, too, in real life and online, they'll look at the different relationships in different settings. And in an international context, it's even more meaningful because a lot of the relationships they will have will be online. It's with grandparents overseas or aunts and uncles. So how do we manage that? They'll learn about a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So they look at the physical, emotional, and social aspects of well-being. They'll look at risk. How can they identify risk? Now, you know when your child was a toddler and they were precariously balanced on the back of the sofa, they had no idea about risk. But now it's at greater risk. And what we also need to do is balance that. Now, we are aware that we're in Singapore, and Singapore is generally very safe and generally a lovely area to bring your children up in. But we are aware that there are risks that they may be exposed to, and we need to make them aware of that so that they can manage them. And diversity and equality. Now, this is something that, too, we manage within the Singapore boundaries. We also look at rights, the notion of universal human rights. So we do a lot of that as well through our UNICEF and through our other partnerships where they look at the rights of the student. Our mission and our values are written with the rights of the student in mind. We look at change. Now, this is a big one for lots of our students. Change from a different country. They may well have change in terms of the year groups they're in. They may have change in they just moving house. And these things that affect children every day, but it's how we can help them to manage that change that really supports them as they grow. It's looking at power, and this is a really vital one, especially up the school, and then looking at their careers moving forward. So as you can see, it kind of moves from low level up to high level thinking. Right, we're going to play another quick game. What I'd like you to do is to take a card and don't show the person next to you. I'd like you to get into order, without talking, without saying a single word, get into order using your cards. So there's 2 suits, I think they're called. And you have to get into order from ace to king without talking. If you can come and do that in the front. Now, even within that activity, there were some people who led the activity, who were really keen, right, let's get this organized, who were supporting the activity, and there were some people who were quite happy to follow along. And that's the natural roles that we take. And through PSHCE, we want children to experience both sides. So we want them to experience what it feels like to lead something, but also what it feels like to be nurtured and to be supported through an activity. And that's really important too. Now, the skills of communication are vital. That was challenging, and it would have been done so much quicker if you could have just said, right, clubs here, diamonds there, let's go. Would have been so much quicker. So it's really important that we have those communication and interpersonal skills. So, what do we do at school? Our PSHCE program is specific to our children, and it has to be. Within Singapore, just like that question earlier, we need to make sure that the provision that we're giving them is within the local law, but also one that we know is universally correct. It's a spiral approach. So it's not something we visit once and then never again. We visit again and again, but in an age-appropriate way. So when we lower down the school, we might start to learn about myself, my body. And as we move up through the school into year 6, that will go into sex education. It is a positive approach. It's about how we do things. And it's about making sure that the children feel that the whole system is positive, and it's not a way of saying to them, you should not feel angry, because they will feel angry. It's not a way of saying to them, you should not feel sad when somebody's mean to you. It's about saying to them, that's okay. How can you manage that? It includes a wide variety of teaching and learning styles. We know children learn in different ways. What's really important to us is that it's hands-on. The more we can do games like this, the more we can sit as a class and talk together, the more impactful it is on a child. Now, what we will ask them to do is reflect after their sessions. What have they taken away from it? Because it's all good and well, we give them a lot of information, but if they're not able to process that information and use it in a way specific to themselves, then it's pointless. So reflection is a big part of PSHCE. It provides realistic and relevant information. What you won't find is us talking about how to manage the winter blues, because it's not something specific to our setting. But you will find us talking about things that are more specific to our setting, such as transitions and change. As I said, it requires reflection. It recognises that PSHCE is in all aspects of school life. So as the children come here on their very first day, you'll hear them talking about things like care, and resilience. Hopefully you've been hearing those words at home a bit more, the resilience, reflection, collaboration, inquiry. It encourages positive relationships. What we don't want to do is scare them and say, no, online relationships ever are any good idea. We need to give them the knowledge to know how to manage them themselves, but also how to manage positive relationships as a growing child into adult. It allows children to make decisions, real-life decisions about their life. Things like money. What to do with their money? So once Christmas is over, they've got money burning a hole in their pocket. How to manage that? And how to manage the feeling of, should I be buying this for this friend? Or what to do in those situations. And it nurtures confidence in children so that they can ask questions, that they can share their viewpoints, that they can feel a part of a team without feeling that they don't belong. And it also gives them an opportunity to put into practice the things that have been learned. So if we're talking about feeling angry, if we're talking about big feelings, and angriness is a big feeling. If you think of it as an adult, when you feel angry, your decisions become clouded, everything gets involved with that. Now, as a child, we need to teach them how to manage that so that as adults, they have the ability to do that. So it's about putting into practice what they've learned, but in a different setting. So if we've done a lovely circle time about feeling angry and what to do and how to do some breathing to calm down, it's about making sure that they use that on the playground when they're feeling angry, that someone's taken the ball from them. And it's about them practicing that every day.